Hey, what's up? Angela Mosley here with Modern Fit Moms. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 7 core training exercises you can do throughout your entire pregnancy. As a pre and postnatal corrective exercise trainer and a Girls Gone Strong pre and postnatal trainer, I'm going to walk you through 7 swaps that you can replace with any core training that you might experience in your local group fitness classes. Now, I get the question all the time, what's safe and unsafe for pregnancy? And there's really no deemed unsafe exercise, but when it comes to core training, we just want to train it a little bit smarter. And so the goal with our core training is more functional movements that's going to support you throughout pregnancy to help reduce some aches and pains. Now, I would also want to let you know that up to 100% of women at full term birth will have a diastasis recti. This is not inherently a bad thing. It is a simple progression of pregnancy. It is a normal part of the process, okay? And so I feel like a lot of women get so scared of developing diastasis recti and they're freaking out and they're doing all these things to try to avoid it, but when in fact there's no way to actually avoid it. There is a way to reduce the severity and risk of diastasis recti, but also to help support you in that recovery stage postpartum. Now, everybody is going to be different, okay? I didn't even realize that I had diastasis recti until my 4th kid. And I probably had it with all the other babies and just never knew it. Many women will resolve diastasis recti without intervention, whereas some women may need more intervention postpartum. So the exercises I'm going to give you in today's video, I'm going to give you 7, are going to be great swaps that you can do, especially if you're training at home and you're unsure of what core training you should do to support your body. Or maybe you go into that group fitness class and they have you lying down supine face up and you are 7 months pregnant and you're like, this is way too complicated. This is really uncomfortable because baby is getting really big. These are some exercises that you can do to swap them out. Now, disclaimer, I want you to be mindful of your body, being in tune with your body. What feels good, what feels right, and what doesn't feel right is extremely important when it comes to training. Like I said, there's no unsafe or safe exercise in pregnancy. It's how you do it that matters. Same thing with postpartum and women with leaking, prolapse, and diastasis recti. It's how you do the exercise that matters, not the exercise itself. So I'm going to walk you through these 7 exercises to support you during your pregnancy trial, or not trial, but during your pregnancy journey. At this time, I do not have a pregnancy course. If that's something that you would be interested in, learning about the different dynamics of training during pregnancy for each trimester, but also preparing your body for birth, especially as someone with prolapse, let me know in the comments below. I'll start working on that. I already have some ideas. I'm going to be doing an in-person pregnancy class, but I want to make sure that there's a need for it online as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our 7 exercises. Okay, we're going to start with all standing exercises first because we're already standing, so might as well. All right, so the very first exercise is a super simple exercise. I do this today even at 5 years postpartum. I continue to change it up and modify as my body needs to progress it. So what I have is 1 single dumbbell, and you can do 2 dumbbells as a more advanced version, or you can do that unilateral training, which is going to help you balance out some kinks in your body. Because let's face it, we are not perfect side to side, okay? We have imbalances. It's just a normal part of our life, especially when it comes to babies. Constantly carrying baby on your hip, and so one side is going to be weaker than the other. So that's why I love training both sides. So super basic is a farmer's carry. So I've got a 35-pound dumbbell here, and typically I'd probably go up to about 45. I want you to think about how much that car seat might weigh. And you could actually take your car seat and put a light dumbbell in it, such as 8 or 10 pounds, and use that as part of your your farmer's carry. This might actually help you when baby is born to help balance that load. So we want to train both sides so that we can be strong in both sides. So it literally is just a farmer's carry. I've got the dumbbell or the suitcase carry. They're interchangeable. I've got the dumbbell in my one hand and I'm literally just going to walk around. So I might walk down and then turn around and then walk the other way. And I might do that for about 30 seconds, give or take. And then one way that you can progress that, of course, is by increasing the time that you carry it for or increasing the load. Now, during pregnancy, I would say because you're already increasing the load with the baby, that you might want to just increase the time under tension with the dumbbell. Now, you want to make sure that you do both sides. So say you do 30 seconds on the one side and 30 seconds on the other side. 2 to 3 rounds is my general rule of thumb. having a rest in between. Rest can be based on how you're feeling. I typically program rest for about 15 seconds between sets when it comes to core training. So I might do a farmer's carry, 30 seconds on the right, 30 seconds on the left, and then I'll follow it up with another exercise in my training, and then I'll repeat that 2 more times. So that's your farmer's carry, just simply using the dumbbell, or like I said, you can use your car seat, put a little weight in there and just carry it around to get used to carrying that load. Now this is going to functionally train your core to help stabilize so you're not falling over. You have to use those opposite obliques to pull you up to keep you upright as you're carrying that load. Again, this is why we want to train both sides. Okay, exercise number 2 is another one of my favorites. It's an anti-rotation exercises. And I love it because I still train it today, because we can do so many different things to make this exercise more challenging. There are a million different variations, which I'm not going to cover all of them in today's video, but you could certainly search them up on Google and say, hey, what's a variation of the Pelvic press? Now you can do this in a half kneeling position. I would prefer this side, play around with which knee is in front. You can do a tall kneeling position. Just be mindful that you want to make sure that the band is right out in front of you. So doing this in a tall kneeling position here would be a little bit too high. I've got it anchored up high to do a standing variation. All right, and then the other option in the standing variation is of course a split stance. So again, play around with your foot placement. Is that split stance? You can have that wide stance, and then you can also add in rotation to it. So again, there's a lot of different variations to this exercise, but the basics of the exercise is you're getting some resistance from the wall that the band is pulling from. This is naturally going to help you pull away from it because you naturally want to pull in towards the band, but you have to work your core to work against it. I'm going to inhale here. Nice 360-degree pattern, and then exhale from the bottom up as I push out. Inhale here, exhale, push out. So again, you can do any of those levels that I showed you, the half kneeling, the tall kneeling, the split stance, feet together or feet just outside your hips. You can also add a yoga block or a Pilates ball in between. If you're feeling like you need that extra support, what you can do is you can inhale here, exhale, squeeze the ball as you push out, and then release and come back in. Now, I still have some tension on my adductors to hold that ball, but I'm not squeezing it as I come back in. It's just simply holding there, and I'm nice and relaxed. So that is one of my favorite exercises that I do today, even at 5 years postpartum, just to train my core. And again, you can change it up and do a couple of different things. One other way you can do it is you can add in some rotation. So exhale, rotate, and then come back in. Inhale here, exhale, rotate, and then come back in. So such a good exercise for training the core in pregnancy, postpartum, and beyond. All right, next up are psoas marches. So we do need to strengthen those hip flexors. The hip flexors help to pull and position our pelvis into a good alignment. We also need good hamstrings. I'm not going to cover the hamstrings today, but so many people think, oh, we need to lengthen our hip flexors, and sometimes that might be the case. But other times we might actually need to strengthen them. And so part of that is through psoas marches, but also addressing those lower abdominals, especially for the support of that growing baby. So you may want to hold on to something nearby. I'm going to grab this loop band and I'm going to place it underneath my feet. Now I do want, especially, balance is going to be off during pregnancy. So make sure that you have something nearby that you can hold on to, because realistically, I would hold on to something and I would think inhale here, exhale, drive up, hold for just a second, and then drop down. And then same thing, drive up and drop down. Balance is going to be extremely challenged, especially as that baby grows throughout your entire pregnancy. So again, very important that you have something nearby to hold on to, and then you don't just try to go freestyle in this without holding on. Even like I said, someone who's 5 years postpartum, sometimes my balance is off too. So just make sure you're very smart and protective of that. Now, the regression of this option would be using an elevated surface. So you can even use something like a kitchen table. I don't have a kitchen table here. I have my bench. So it's a plank position, but instead we're driving in and holding. So exhale, hold. Inhale, exhale, hold. So this would be a regression to the standing variation. And I still feel my low abs. I still feel my core working. So it's a great exercise to get those lower abs on board, especially during pregnancy, postpartum, and beyond. So choose the variation that works best for you. Okay, my final and fourth exercise for standing variations for pregnancy is a halo. So this is great also for shoulder mobility. You're going to take a light weight. I'm using a 12. Choose a weight that feels good for you. I'm going to start on my right leg, and I'm going to drive the weight up, around, and over. So it's going behind my head and then around my head and then tapping down to my opposite leg. Then I'm going to go to the right side and then tap to my right leg. So I'm going to the left and then tapping on the left. And so same thing, I'm using my core to help stabilize. I'm getting some shoulder mobility, which is great. Especially during pregnancy, we can tend to hunch and slouch over because we're getting tired. That belly is growing and our posture tends to slack. So this is a great exercise for shoulder mobility, but also for another great exercise for core training during pregnancy in a standing position. Okay, my final 3 exercises for you are down on the mat. I am going to use a Pilates ball for all 3 as an option. So I'm going to just show you the different progressions and you can choose which option feels best for you. So the very first option is a side plank, right? So your regular traditional side plank is your elbow is directly underneath your shoulder, and then you're going to press the elbow into the floor to push the body away so that you're not sinking into your shoulder. Very important that we're not sinking and collapsing here. We want to think pushing away. So of course, if you are strong enough and there's no combing, no coning, no pressure down, no leaks or anything like that, and you feel good in this position with your core and with baby growing, you can stay here as long as it feels okay. Very important that I want you to think throughout all of these exercises in the side plank variation is you're getting that lateral rib cage expansion. So I personally either like to reach my arm out or reach up. More realistically, if you reach out, you're going to get more expansion into this back rib cage here. And so I personally love that variation because then you can get the breath there. So it's just another great way to sneak some breathing exercises into your core training because it's all about breathing when it comes to our core training. So then, of course, the level after that or the regression would be a knee plank, or a knee plank with a leg out, and then of course just a super simple knee plank together. Now, what you can do is you can add the Pilates ball for a little additional activation, especially if you feel like you're weak or you just need more support. You can think inhale here, exhale, hold and squeeze. Now you can hold this position or you can inhale down and then exhale, squeeze the ball to come up. And you can move through the side plank rather than holding it, especially if it is towards the end of pregnancy and you're getting really tired. Completely understandable. Now, one variation of this exercise would be doing an elevated supported side plank because that is going to help you and support to take some of that load off of your abdomen so that we can still train our side planks, right? So I personally love to have my bottom leg out and my top leg in front. This feels very supportive in me, and I do find that it is a more supportive position. Same thing, I want to think about reaching my hand out because then I'm going to get some lateral rib cage expansion, and I'm going to make sure that I'm compressing my abdominals. Inhale and exhale. Now you can do a regular side plank with your feet out, of course, if that feels good for you, but I just like to show you the ones that I personally like and that I find to be the most supportive. One other position for your side plank that you might want, especially if you're down on the mat, is bringing your knees out in front, okay? So you can bring your knees out in front. You're still going to work those obliques. You're still going to work those abs. This can just be super helpful for someone who feels strain in their glutes. I had on my left side, I was gripping on my left side for the longest time. So this position really helped work for me because then it was lengthening, putting the glutes in a position of lengthen, but I was still able to work my core and focus on my breathing in this position as well. So again, my knees are further out in front rather than straight down and back. So choosing that variation, play around with it to see what feels good in your body. Now let's talk about planks. A full plank in and of itself is not inherently bad. However, it produces a lot of frontal load. So this is where we can start to see our core, I don't want to say decline, but compensate. And where that linea alba, the middle of your abdominals, can start to thin out. So any doming, or as when I was training during pregnancy, I didn't know any better. And people were like, your abdomen looks like an alien. And so I continued with planks throughout my pregnancy, not knowing that I probably shouldn't have been doing it. So again, everybody's going to be different. So one way, if you do have planks in your classroom or in your group fitness setting, you can use an elevation. You can do a knee plank. Pregnancy is not the time for six-pack abs. It's just not. Your body is changing. So give yourself some grace. I'd rather you choose a regression than trying to get your max effort, because that's not the goal during pregnancy. The goal during pregnancy is to train your body, reduce the risk, support your body to reduce pain, discomfort, all the crazy things that happen during pregnancy, but also to support your recovery after birth. And so that's why doing a full plank might not be the best core exercise for you, but if you're going to do it, I'd highly recommend that you do it on an elevation or change it to a bear plank, which I'm going to show you in just a sec. So the elevation is just finding something higher than the ground. You can do more on your elbows. So like we did with that elevated psoas march or the mountain climbers, it's the same concept here, but instead we're holding it. So again, you want to think pushing your elbows into the bench so you're not sinking. So I'm sinking here. I'm pushing away to get more of that serratus on board, which is going to be really important for pregnancy core and postpartum core. And then of course you have the option of doing your hands up. Okay. So if you are fine getting rid of planks in your training, then you would want to try a hands and knees position or a bear crawl. So same thing and concept with our bench and our elbows and our hands is you want to think pushing the floor away so that we're not sinking our shoulders in. So we're pushing away, getting the serratus on board right here, pushing through that and getting a good, nice, solid inhale. Chin is slightly tucked and you slowly lift those knees up off the ground. All right, so this is option number one, is just simply breathing into your back and into your sides while lifting your abdomen. Now, this is going to be really challenging, especially as baby grows, because you're working against gravity. So if you feel like it's too much of a challenge, you can simply go into a 3-second hold. So 3-second hold with your exhale, drop your knees, inhale, let that belly go, and then repeat, reactivate, reconnect. You can also add in a Pilates ball to help support you in that. Whether you hold it for the whole time or you're doing 3-second holds, you're going to think inhale here and then exhale, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Inhale, let go, or drop down into taking your rest. So I would say 3 and 3 or however long that you need. Now, if you are ready for something more advanced and you're a higher level athlete, then you can incorporate bear crawl walks. So starting at the edge of your mat or wherever it is that you're going to go, you have your hands under your shoulders, knees under hips. I'm going to move my left hand with my right knee, my right hand with my left knee, and I'm just going to move, okay? So I'm moving, and then when you come back, you're going to do the same thing. So it is a controlled movement. We're not going for speed here. Now, another way that you can go is you can go laterally. So I can go this way very carefully, and I'm moving the same limb. So left hand, right knee, right hand, left knee, or wow. Yeah, right hand, left knee, as I'm moving laterally to support my body in different motions. So that is the bear plank. Great option for our planks. If your body is like, I need to give up planks, and that's okay. This is a great regression to that. That's still going to train your core pretty significantly. I do bear planks today, all sorts of different variations. They're challenging. They really are. One thing that I do find is that many women will feel it in their quads. And so you want to think pulling up your pubic bone up towards your sternum. Okay. That has helped me quite a bit, but then also adding in that Pilates ball can really help to feel that sensation in those lower abs, because I do hear a lot that women feel it in their quads, over their core, and it's really a core exercise, not a quad exercise. But don't worry, you're not alone. I felt it in my quads for the longest time until I heard that cue. I'm like, oh, pubic bone up towards the sternum. That works wonders. So that is your bear plank variation. Okay, your final exercise is a bird dog. I'm sure you've heard of it. It is great for pregnancy, great for postpartum, great for training your warm up. I add in I had in bird dogs with bent over rows. There's a lot of different things that you can do. And when done correctly, bird dogs are actually very challenging. And so I think a lot of people think, oh, it's such this simple exercise, but really it's actually pretty challenging when you do it correctly. So I'm going to show you several different options that you can do to challenge it and progress it. But again, remember, baby is growing, baby is getting bigger, and that is a progression in and of itself because it's going to be more weight that you are carrying and more weight that you're working against as far as gravity goes. All right, so the very first thing I want you to note is it's that same setup as our bear plank. So you want to think pubic bone towards the sternum, but I don't want to tuck my tailbone under with my glutes or my hamstrings. I'm just having it ever so slightly, okay? I'm pushing the floor away to push through the serratus. My neck is long and I'm tucking that chin slightly back. Now, level 1 is just lifting one limb at a time with control. I'm lifting one at a time and I'm lifting one at a time. You're going to have that good core control. Now, I want you to think as if there is a glass of something on the back of you. So for me, that would be my energy drink. For some of you, that might be freshly expressed breast milk. So I want you to think that you're trying not to spill it, right? Once you feel like you've mastered one limb at a time, you can then drag out and in. My floor is not the best for dragging because it's got bumps on it. But I hope you get that idea. You're dragging and pulling in. And then, of course, reaching all the way up and all the way up. Okay? So that would be the progression to that, is having both your limbs all the way out. Such a good exercise for posture, for core, pelvic floor, all the things. Now, if you're ready for something, I wouldn't say that this is more advanced. I would just say that this helps to turn your core on a little bit more. So you can place the ball underneath one hand and you're just going to move. So I'm pressing into the floor with my right hand and I'm going to move with my left hand. So I think inhale here and then exhale, press into the ball as I drive out. Inhale here. Exhale, press. So this is just going to help to turn on that deep core a little bit more if you just want to change up the variation. So those are the 7-ish exercise with different levels and variations that you can choose. Like I said, I would much rather see you be smart and wise with your core training throughout pregnancy so you can help reduce some of those aches and pains, but also help your recovery postpartum. Pregnancy is not the time for your max effort. It's not the time for your personal best. It's just not. Your personal best is helping baby to grow, making sure that you're training efficiently and effectively throughout pregnancy and preparation for birth. So like I said, as of right now, I do not have a pregnancy program. I am going to be doing in-person pregnancy classes. If you would like to see an online version of a pregnancy program or of a pregnancy version of my Core Lift program, which is a 12-week strength training program for women with prolapse, leaking, and diastasis recti, comment below. I'd love to hear from you if this is something you would be interested in, to make sure that I don't just create a program and there's no need for it. So anyway, make sure you share this with a mama friend that could benefit. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.